There was a movie that was all concept.
You want to do the box now?
Yeah.
With an extremely convoluted plot.
I was forward normally towards the B end.
Unintelligible audio. Featuring mind-bending time travel starring all your friends, shot on film, this movie is more Nolan than Christopher Nolan. Yes, I'm talking about Primer, one of my absolute favorite films of all time. I'm going to unravel the enigma that is Primer. This masterpiece is as much a mind-bender as it is a testament to independent filmmaking. This isn't just any old sci-fi movie, it's a psychological journey that delves into the boring, mundane minutia of time travel.
The time for jacking around with Tesla coils and ball lightning in the garage is over.
All on a shoestring budget. Crafted from the ground up by Shane Carruth, who operated as writer, director, producer, editor, composer, and actor.
I remember certain times where I was like, you know what, I think maybe this has a chance to, people might see something in this, and then there's other times where you look at it and you're like, nobody's gonna sit through this. I can't force people to sit through this.
Primer stands out for Carruth's choice to focus on technical jargon and not water things down or oversimplify.
Abe had taken on the task of quantifying and explaining the device.
Showcasing rich dialogue that reflected his background in mathematics and engineering.
And it curves parabolically. Right. So it comes back around again, and it does this about 1,300 times, and when it finally exits on the B end, it's traveling an odd number of forward and backward trips.
Oh, what is so special about 1,300? And why is it about 1,300? Why isn't it exact? This is not empirical.
It might have you scratching your head, but if you dig in, I find it an intriguing delight. The movie's experimental approach to storytelling, paired with its philosophical undertones, offers a fresh take on the time travel genre. Despite its minimal budget, Primer captivated audiences and critics alike, snagging the Grand Jury Prize at the 2004 Sundance Film Festival. Yes, this movie is now 20 years old. I promise you, once you see it, it will linger in your mind forever. Whether you're here for the innovative filmmaking or the brain-twisting plot, Primer is a journey through the possibilities of cinema and science, proving that sometimes the most profound stories come from the most modest means. So what is Primer? I am going to talk about spoilers, but I don't think that even matters in this case. I've watched this movie so many times, and every single time I get more from it. So even if you know the bits and the pieces and how it ends, it's still worth watching yourself, especially multiple viewings. Well, it all starts in an ordinary garage. Two engineers named Aaron and Abe merge their technical know-how with entrepreneurial spirit, beginning on a side hustle business that breaks into the impossible. Their initial goal is to lighten the weight of objects using electromagnetic fields. But what they stumble upon is far from what they intended, a loophole in the fabric of time itself. Objects left within their experimental setup not only lose weight, but start exhibiting bizarre time loops, repeating their existence from the moment the field is activated to the moment it's turned off and then back again. Fascinated and overly ambitious, Abe takes this accidental discovery to the next level by constructing a human-sized box, a time travel machine that allows him to venture 6 hours into his past. To avoid any paradoxes, he isolates himself each time, ensuring he doesn't interfere with the unfolding events outside his hotel room. Once he's lived through these extra hours, he meets up with Aaron, bringing him into the loop, literally. The duo exploits this time travel capability, making a killing on the stock market with the knowledge of the day's outcomes, but they don't always agree on the right approach, and this starts to strain not just their operation, but their friendship as well. Time travel, it turns out, isn't without its physical and ethical tolls. Side effects start to emerge. They're subtle at first, then unmistakably alarming, marked by ear bleeds and deteriorating handwriting. Their exploits take a darker turn with the mysterious appearance of Abe's girlfriend's father, who seems to have been caught in their temporal tampering, leading to his comatose state. Realizing the dangers they've unleashed, Abe decides to hit the ultimate reset button, a failsafe box designed to undo their experiments. But the timeline is already tangled, with multiple versions of themselves at play, including a future Aaron who's steps ahead, having already planned for this exact moment. In a final attempt to control the chaos they've created, they intervene in a critical moment from their past, preventing a violent incident at a party. Their actions rewrite their paths. Aaron eyes a future of further manipulations abroad, while Abe stays behind, determined to prevent any further time travel experiments. The narrative closes on a cryptic note with implications of multiple timelines and versions of Aaron and Abe coexisting, and the construction of an even larger time machine looming on the horizon, suggesting that their journey through the paradoxes of time is far from over. Even describing the plot to this movie is almost impossible to convey what it's even about. You really have to watch it to experience it for yourself. In a lot of ways, it evokes that same experience of watching Christopher Nolan's Tenet.
You have to start looking at the world in a new way.
Where you just kind of have to go with it and enjoy the ride. The moment you start trying to understand every single detail, your brain will just fall apart. And there's plenty of videos on YouTube that are more than happy to break it down for you. But the best and easiest way to understand it is actually this infographic that was made, which shows the time loop. What I love about this concept of time travel is that it's not instantaneous. You don't just blip to the past. You actually have to spend time getting there. In the same way that Tenet creates this world of inverted people and objects who are literally traveling backwards in time, Primer actually did this almost 20 years earlier. Abe and Aaron have to spend time in the box in order to travel to the past, which in some ways is kind of similar to the turnstiles that are featured in Tenet. What I really like about this looping box concept in Primer is that it closes off most of the paradoxes associated with time travel. If you think of the movie literally called Looper, that ends up having more problems than Primer when it comes to solving all the paradoxes of time travel. And while I did enjoy Looper when it came out, and I do enjoy Tenet, there's something to be said for Primer creating this incredible world with basically no budget. Not only does the movie impress me from a storytelling and writing perspective, it also impresses me from a production perspective. Every time I watch this movie, it encourages me and inspires me to create more, to do more, to be better, because I know what's possible. There's a phenomenon in sports where the moment someone breaks a world record, many other athletes catch up because they know it's possible. I think films like Primer really showcase what's possible in filmmaking. You don't need all the budget in the world. You can make incredible stories all by yourself. That might be intimidating for some, but I find it incredibly inspiring. Knowing that I don't have to be limited because I don't have enough money or resources or Hollywood behind me. Now, Shane Carruth did say that making this film almost killed him, so you definitely need to find that balance. The moment you take on too much yourself, it becomes a little overwhelming. But if you have a great idea that you want to see made, I encourage you, watch Primer, think of all the potential you have as an individual to create something worthwhile. Primer came out 20 years ago and it still sticks with me, in the same way that people latch on to things like Fight Club or The Matrix or Lord of the Rings. Primer had none of those budgets, had none of those resources, and I would say it is just as valuable, if not even more valuable, because of its humble origins. Nowadays, we have more access to more information, to more technology at more affordable price points than ever before. There is no excuse not to take a good idea and bring it to fruition. It can be done, and every time I doubt myself, I look at Primer and remember how incredible this movie actually is.